Have you ever wanted a Ferrari or a luxurious mansion? What about expensive watches or never-ending beach vacations? Well, if you make $87.5 million a year like Kevin Hart, you can have literally anything you want. This guy is the highest paid comedian on the planet, and he isn't afraid to splash his cash. Hart's net worth soars into the hundreds of millions, believe it or not, rivaling that of Dwayne Johnson. How much exactly? Keep an eye on the tally in the corner as it grows, and you'll soon find out. We know that Kevin Hart is rich. Like, really rich. He's got money coming in from every direction, and he's not afraid to show off his toys. But where do all these fresh stacks of dollar bills actually come from? How did this human laugh factory make precisely 1,859 times the average American annual income in 2019? Well, first off, you've got those multi-million-dollar endorsement deals with massive retailers like Nike and H&M. In exchange for wearing a pair of Nike Kicks, they write him a big fat check. Then, of course, you've got the income of smash box office films like Night School, Get Hard, and that questionable new Jumanji series. Throw in his Comedy Central income and the revenue from sold-out local and international shows, and it's easy to see how his pockets got so deep. What does he have to do with it all? Well, a large chunk went towards that stunning Ferrari 488 Spider. He bought it back in 2018 for his 39th birthday, and like many of his other absurd purchases that we'll shortly see, he gloats about it on his Instagram account. From the words of Ferrari, this $300,000 supercar is the most aerodynamically efficient Ferrari Spider ever built. No wonder Hart wanted it in his collection. With a 3.8-liter V8 engine that produces 660 horsepower under the hood, this Italian stallion can churn out some serious speeds. You know what? Hart loves his Ferraris so much that he actually decided to buy two of them, one in red and one in black, just 'cause. The Ferraris aren't the only cars in his garage, though. In fact, he doesn't even have just one garage. His California home alone has two garages facing one another, but we'll get to that later. Exactly a year after he gifted himself the sleek Ferrari, Hart splurged on another birthday present. This time it was a 1970 Plymouth Barracuda, custom-made by a company called Speedcore. Similar cars sold by them have sold for well over $500,000. On top of that, he's been seen cruising around in a number of other eye-catching wheels, including this $150,000 Ford Mustang GT 500e, a $275,000 Mercedes-Benz SLS AMG Black, this Pontiac GTO, a GMC Yukon XL Denali, and the James Bond-style Aston Martin Vanquish we all dream of. Oh, and how could we forget this mean, downright enormous customized Ford Bronco? Kevin isn't exactly the tallest man on Earth, but just because Kevin's on the shorter side doesn't mean that he shies away from his stature. He even had a laugh about how he jumps up into the Bronco and shared it online. Check it out. All up, he's easily spent a few million on his car collection. Remember those two garages we mentioned? Well, they were found in his stunning mansion in Tarzana, California, about 30 minutes away from the chaos of Hollywood. Situated within a luxurious gated community in the Mulholland Park area, ooh la la, which for those who don't know is a pretty fancy pants zip code, that property set Hart back a whopping $2 million when he bought it in 2020. Feel like a quick tour? We'll try not to get too jealous. As we walk into the Tarzana home's front door, we're greeted with two winding staircases in the front entryway. Across the 6,500 square feet, there are 7 bedrooms, 7 bathrooms, and a captivating floor-to-ceiling fireplace in the living room. One fireplace is enough though, right? Well, apparently not, because the master bedroom has its own fireplace as well, plus a massive adjoining master bathroom and private balcony. As we step outside, we'll find a pool, spa, bar, and grill, perfect for entertaining all of his fat-walleted celebrity friends. Kevin actually sold it back in 2019, but did live there for about 7 years. That's not his only house. Over in Elizabethtown, Pennsylvania, he's got another one, although it's nowhere near as big as you'd think. He calls it his tiny house with big personality, and as you can see, it's really tiny. Ever wanted to sleep in a celebrity's home? Well, thanks to the partnership with Booking.com, anyone keen enough can rent Hart's pad for $175 a night. Despite fame and fortune, the comedian doesn't mind such a small abode. Forgetting his physical height for a moment, Kevin actually grew up very poor and lived in small spaces in his childhood, at one stage even sleeping in the hallway of a one-bedroom apartment. So yeah, Kevin's childhood wasn't all glitz and glamour. He was raised by a single mother in a rough area in Philadelphia. So, once he received his first sizable paycheck as a 24-year-old, it's fair to say that he didn't exactly spend it too wisely. In the Hollywood star's own words, it was stupid plus stupid, which equals stupid. Any guesses what he spent it all on? Lots and lots and lots of throwback jerseys. Like so many that Kevin was too embarrassed to say how many he actually bought. In his weirdly large collection, Hart had the basketball jerseys of legends like Magic Johnson and Larry Bird, as well as 70s basketball star Julius Erving. It wasn't just basketball though, he signed checks in exchange for football player jerseys too, namely the uniforms of 80s and 90s players like Reggie White and Randall Cunningham. Clearly, the sleeping in the hallway phase is well in the past. These days, Kevin can sleep anywhere he wants. Yep, even on a private jet, 37,000 feet in the air. With such a chaotic schedule and one of the most recognizable faces on the planet, it's no wonder that Hart often charters his own wings to get from A to B. If you were worth hundreds of millions, wouldn't you do the same though? It's not exactly clear whether Kevin owns a personal plane or just charters them whenever he needs to get somewhere in a hurry, but it's not cheap either way. Depending on the jet, a new one costs $3 million to $90 million. Even if it's not under his name, he would have spent millions just in chartering fees, that's for sure. Not only does Kevin fly privately to cities where he's performing and vacationing, but he also jets off to big-time events like the basketball playoffs. Back in 2018, when Kevin was heading to Boston for Game 2 of the NBA Eastern Conference with his stylist and comedian friends, the plane popped a tire when landing, sending a huge scare throughout the cabin. He posted about it on Instagram, and his fans were super grateful that he walked out unscathed, all 52 million of them. Hands up, who here has heard of Heartbeat Productions? It's essentially Kevin's very own production company, which produces all kinds of film, TV, theatrical, and digital entertainment. Kevin worked hard to get this baby off the ground back in 2009 and has been funneling millions of dollars back into it so that his organization can keep growing. The company that helped him make the subtle shift from jokester and movie star to major Hollywood player now has over 40 staff people working around the clock on its various projects. I've already rambled on about how Kevin likes to go large on four-wheeled presents for himself, but it seems as though his generosity extends a little further than just his own birthday gifts. Get this, after wrapping his Irresponsible tour as a gesture of gratitude to his close-knit team, he decided to buy every single one of them a mint-condition old-school car. Wow! Among them, a 56 Beetle, a 1965 Mustang, and a 76 Stingray. As for the others, well, see for yourself. All up, they set him back close to $500,000. Even though our Philadelphia funny man travels all the time for work, sometimes hundreds of shows per year all over the world, he, like us, needs a break every once in a while. Over the years, we've seen Kevin splash huge amounts of cash on luxurious and relaxing vacations. He shared jealousy-inducing photos of tropical vacations in St. Lucia, where he's kicked back on private beaches alongside his wife Aniko, sipping on the finest champagne. Thrown a few trips to the snow in Aspen, a meet and greet with the elephants and monkeys in Thailand, a water sports extravaganza in the Bahamas, and the additional expenses to fly the family around in a private plane, and the bills start to stack up. Besides cars, holidays, and mansions, sometimes Kevin offloads his hard-earned cash on the little things as well. Check out this Rolex Platinum Daytona watch. That shiny wrist piece goes for $215,000 on its own. And that's just one of the 6 Rolexes in his collection of over 16 exclusive designer watches. His Richard Mille Bubba Watson is worth $825,000. His 18-karat rose gold Patek Philippe Nautilus sells for $135,000. And when we add in the value of the couple of Amador's Piguet watches, plus the rest of the collection, he spent close to $1 million just to know what time it is. Those uber expensive watches need some nice outfits to go with them though too, right? Like many rich and famous A-listers, Kevin Hart sports plenty of expensive designer clothes. He's actually a huge fan of Barney's New York t-shirts, although often simply sticking to solid black and white colors. But when he feels like it, he can definitely dress to the nines. We've seen Kevin don slimming tailored tuxedos at the Golden Globes, wear a red double-breasted Dior men's suit at the premiere of Night School, and best of all, even invest in creating outfits identical to The Rock. Just for a laugh. When we factor in all his investments, savings, and under-the-radar purchases, Kevin Hart's total net worth reaches, drumroll please, $200 million. So, what's the first thing you'd buy if you had $200 million lying around? Let us know in the comments. And then take a peek at some of our other videos. Don't forget to subscribe. We'll see you next time back here on The Richest.